Now, for more perspective on the fighting in South Sudan, joining me in the studio is Majak Agoot. He's a former South Sudan Deputy Defense Minister and a former political detainee. Mr. Agoot, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you.
Now, everybody around the world is saying, what's wrong with the South Sudanese leaders? What's happening?
Well, two important dimensions could be unearthed in trying to answer this question. First of all, is the proclivity of the two leaders to arson. I'm sorry to say that, but this is what it has come to. And secondly, is the nature of the permanent ceasefire arrangements architecture, which put the same armies in the same location in Juba together. Our position initially was to have Juba demilitarized. This is what we put on the table in Addis. And we had also called for a third-party force to be present in Juba to provide...
Which seems to make sense because, you wonder, can you really have peace in a country where you have two men controlling armies with artillery, heavy weaponry? Even in the long term, can you really see a possibility of peace?
Unfortunately, that's the nature of politics in South Sudan. Politics and warlord entrepreneurship are interlaced, and as a result, not very many politicians who matter today would be what they are if they didn't command military forces.
And now each of them says, "Oh, we want peace," but the armies are fighting. Who is giving the orders? Are they in control of
Well, the two men on the 7th came out and told the world that they were not in control. They didn't know what was taking place in their immediate surrounding, outside the walls of the palace. So it tells you very clearly that whether the two men could be trusted, even to run the affairs of the nation, if they cannot really take charge of controlling their immediate bodyguards.
Yes. Now, so the question becomes, if this peace arrangement doesn't seem to be working, what is the hope for South Sudan?
Well, there is still a lot of promise out there for South Sudan. The country is now stuck with these two leaders. They are the main obstacle to the progress and the future of South Sudan. And given the risky behavior and the way they are running the affairs of the nation, it is actually time to call for their departure from power, because what do they deliver? It is what I said from the onset, their predisposition to arson, to set the country alight. This is the only thing they have delivered, nothing else.
Yes, and that for the many who are observing every day, their hearts bleed for the citizens, the women, children who are dying and trying to get out of town. Now, what can somebody tell the citizens who waited for so long for a peaceful country?
It is a tragedy, and all of us are ashamed of what has become the outcome of our independence. The only hope is that this is not going to last forever. Leaders are transient, they come and go, and if the leadership or this generation has failed to deliver the promise for the struggle, another generation of leaders is going to do that.
Is there a danger of different factions, perhaps in one of these days, clamoring for secession, given now that it seems like the different ethnic groups cannot coexist?
I think the direction that the things should take in South Sudan at the moment is for any serious political leader or any aspirant to pursue a non-violent approach. And I think that's where we're applying weapons and arms against ourselves has proven to be very, very dangerous, and nobody is benefiting from that at all.
Indeed, embarrassing, frustrating, and painful. Well, thanks a lot for joining us today and for your perspectives.
Thank you.
That's Majak Agoot. He's a former South Sudan Deputy Defense Minister and a former political detainee.